Yo, what's up, guys? Terrell here from Terrell Game Vlogs. I decided to do an interesting discussion video because today me and my coworker were having kind of a casual conversation about people and with all the political talk of the upcoming election and the Democratic nomination and Michelle Obama and Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump and their various speeches and comments and thoughts. The one of the phrases that you've been hearing a lot probably this week and just in general is "Make America Great Again." Make America great again. Great again. Again. And it was a kind of a discussion that has always kind of irked me because every time someone says that shit, I'm always sitting there in the back going like, in comparison, like, okay, so America, let's think about it. People hate the way America used to be because it was built on the foundation of the backs of other cultures and races. And then America is shit now. So my question is, when the fuck was America great by like everybody's standards? Because just from a race perspective, people... Shut up, phone. Just from a race perspective, most people wouldn't say America has ever been great. For, like, at all, since its inception. But you don't think it's great now, so what the fuck does that even mean? And then people like to talk about... And listen, America has its fucking problems. Let's be real here. I'm not going to be the dude who sits here and goes, oh, America's fucking great. It's perfect. There's no problems whatsoever. There are so many problems with this country, it's insane. But then I think about it and I go, wait a minute. Would I really want to live anywhere else? And some of you might, but realistically for me, I would visit those other places. I wouldn't stay. Because America is literally the best you can get right now. It's not perfect, but then again, think about it. It's the only country right now that exists that has this level of diversity between different races, ethnicities, and cultures. You can't go nowhere and do half of the stuff you say. This is a country that's built upon the concept of freedom. And obviously, it's not necessarily been 100% true the entire time. The point is this. This is the only country I know you can get on Twitter or even go outside and say the most racist, hateful shit to any group of people you want, and the consequence doesn't involve anything more, and I know someone's going to make the joke, but you can go out and say this kind of shit and be perfectly fine for the most part, unless, obviously you start physically antagonizing people. There have been, why do you think we have videos on subways and buses and parks and shit where people have just said really disturbing, disrespectful shit and then just gotten away with it? I mean, for God's sakes, the Ku Klux Klan is still considered like an organized group and can properly meet. And some of you go, that's a terrible thing, but this is a country that promotes freedom. That anybody, and that's the thing people got to remember, you have a country that says anybody can come around and be accepted as an individual as long as they are not antagonizing and endangering the lives of other individuals. This is the first of its kind for a country. Why do you think, we always, people like to say America has all its fucking problems and its races and shit. And then you have all the various races telling you how bad it is and how horribly their race was treating, and yet we don't leave. They'd be like, you know why? It's because they know the best you can get is here. And the reason why this is because I remember reading on Facebook about how people were talking about the upcoming election, and you had primarily Bernie Sanders supporters, which makes sense, who, when they found out Bernie had given all of his kind of support to Hillary and pretty much said, I'm not running for president anymore. I'm here to support Hillary. People were like, fuck it, we're screwed, because people didn't like Trump, obviously, and there are people who don't like Hillary. And so it's like, well, you know what? And then I remember one of the posts was like, well, stop thinking you had to choose between Trump and Hillary. You have an option. And I'm like, well, yeah, you do. You're in America. You have an option. You can choose just not to vote. Although to me, that's kind of a worse option than voting in general, because realistically, if I got two choices, I'm obviously picking the fucking better choice. I don't give a damn. And people are like, you just want to go back to the same old era of the racism and the poverty and the terrible life situations. And I'm just in there going, you mean how like the majority of our presidents were racist? And I don't mean, and when I say racist, I mean like legit covered like half of them owned slaves and shit. And half of them weren't the kindest of black people. You know, and I'm specifically saying black people because that's the race that I identify with. So obviously, the only presidents you ever hear black people talk really positively about is like the Clintons. Ha! See the irony there? And I'm just sitting there going, in a country that allows you the ability to choose, that gives you the option and gives you the right to choose to pick the person who will govern our country in the future, because obviously, you know, the young people don't give a fuck about local elections of their congressmen, which, you know, would lead into the whole thing of their leaders of the country, you know, the things that we could affect. You know, we're one of the few countries that get that option, and we're like, fuck it, we don't want to do it. But that's kind of the appeal of America, isn't it? You can do what you want to do. We're like the only country that you can do that in, and people will still walk around and go, man, America is shit. And I'm like, well, okay, fine. America's so shit. Go somewhere else. Go somewhere else. Go somewhere else and tell me how great it is. And look, I'm not shitting on other countries saying they're just completely terrible. But realistically, this is the best it gets. And obviously, I would rather improve a first attempt at a unified nation. Because to me, that would be the fucking goal. To have every nation unified. Instead of all this fucking infightings. We're like the only species that infights to this degree. There is no other species of animals whatsoever, or creatures on this earth, that come from the same family of creatures that fight with each other as much as we do. But we'll still run around screaming, but we're still, and so, you know, because I would think the goal for humans is to all get together, pool in our resources, and survive peacefully and respectfully. But then you got people freaking out about every little fucking thing. Oh, well, over there they have women who can't fucking read or write, and they got fucking children over here creating shoes and shit. And I'm like, but you say America is the shit. It's like trash. That's what I mean by shit. Is that it's absolute trash, and that you would never want to live in such a detestable region, and how you can't stand this country, but you ain't moved yet. And some of you would say, well, that's money. Yeah. You know, depending on where you move, certain countries won't even let you make the money you want to make. You don't have the freedom to do as much as you want. And that's changing over time because people are finally changing and opening up their hearts and minds to each other. But the country that's probably still the best at doing that is here. We may have our police brutality and our corrupted government, but, you know, at least there's an effort trying to improve. And I'm not saying that's not the case in other countries, but let's be real here. It ain't as apparent in some countries as it is in others. Just, you know, I'm just saying. So, you know, when I hear this whole bullshit about how America's trash or make America great again, this is the best we've been in a while. You know, people want to sit there and talk about this police brutality. The only difference between the police brutality now and then is that now we're seeing it. Before, we just didn't know, we just didn't see it because of the internet. Because of the lack of social media and ways to share it with your friends, we weren't seeing the police brutality that has been going on for years and decades and shit. And all of a sudden, it's, oh, well, this is the worst it's been. It's probably the best it's been. I'm not saying it's perfect, and I'm not going to say it's perfect, but I'm saying, when I hear Make America Great Again, my question is, to most people, who viewed America great to begin with? And considering how much we viewed America great, when was it at its best? As a whole. I'm not talking about like a specific area, because I'm pretty sure you could find a specific area of America that was good during a certain time period. I'm talking about as a whole, when was America at its peak? Where you had this amount of freedom, this amount of ways of sharing. I mean, for God's sakes, we've gotten to the point where we can fucking live stream murders and deaths and fucking violent acts of crime, either as or after or right after they've happened. You know, People want to talk about, you know, the guy who got shot in the car by the policeman and the woman who live streamed it. When the fuck could you ever live stream that kind of event? You shouldn't be able to, realistically. Think about it. It's essentially streaming a dead man. You're streaming a corpse in a very dangerous situation. The situation shouldn't have happened in the first place, but my point is, I'd rather be in a fucking country in which I can get away with doing that. Because in other countries, pulling out your cell phone, you're automatically getting shot. Hell, you'd be lucky if you have a cell phone, and if the money and if the fucking price gouging in various countries even makes it affordable in the fucking first place. People act like America is so far into the shit. It's one of the reasons why I never understood that concept of, oh, I'm not gonna vote. The fuck? And then you be, look, you're talking about how you want to make America great or fix, you know, at least contribute into fixing society, and these are the same individuals who have no idea who their you know, their governors or their congressmen are, or their representatives in their own fucking cities and states, but want to talk about how, oh, we need to fix America. Oh yeah, well maybe the first thing you know the first thing you do to fix a country, you stay fucking informed. If you're not willing to do that, I don't want to hear shit coming out of your mouth like you're some type of political activist and you actually give a fuck. You give a fuck when it's on your Facebook feed. You just don't give a fuck the rest of the time. So I'm not gonna vote. Fuck you. Say, oh, it's just the lesser of two evils. Okay, yeah, that's right. Because, you know, Hillary is just a fucking evil, satanic devil just like Trump. But she has the blood of Americans on their hands. Half the people half of the higher power individuals in America are like that. And they're still in positions of power. But I thought the people had the power to change that. What's going on? Oh, that's right. You don't give a fuck when it's your state. You know, the one where you have a lot of choice and shit. But you give a fuck when it hits the White House. Okay. You know, everyone wants to talk about how they want to stop the problem. When they want to stop the problem when it's in its final stages, but you didn't want to stop the problem before it even started. I fucking hate that shit. So yeah, I will be voting. I know some of you won't. But don't. All I'm saying is, if Trump gets elected, because all the individuals who were going to vote for Bernie were like, well, Hillary's just as bad, or at least isn't any better. Okay, it's fine. So when you sit there, I don't want to see any complaints on your fucking Facebook wall or your Twitter feed about how, oh, look at this. This is how it shows how bad America is because Trump won presidency. Yeah, because the generation that could have stopped it and the majority of people who could have stopped that from happening didn't fucking vote. I don't want to devolve this into a rant. This is thoughts and mindsets, you know. But yeah, when I hear Make America Great Again, and we had the power, we've been having the power to do that for a while now, why don't we fucking use it? And stop fucking running around and complaining and blaming everybody else. And then acting like it's such a shitty country, but you yet have no intentions of moving. Not even that you ain't got the money, you just don't care to move. I don't know. But leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. A lot of you still want to kind of like these societal discussions like this, and I'm not as well informed on the political race as I should be, which is why I'm not running around complaining and shit about how how people need to make America great again. Yeah, that coming from the guy who's in there on his fucking phone playing Pokemon Go. Ah! Yeah, because you totally care, right? Balls again for your boy, Terrell. Catch you guys later. Peace. Oh.